I'm alive, buddy.
You made it. I was worried about you yesterday.
Oh man. Oh, so I first off, everybody, welcome to the walk off. I'm Scott Belford, joined by Adam Mack.
Cheers.
And buddy, cheers. We've had some vaccine side effects, the two of us. It's so funny because you were out of it for like 3 days, and now I'm feeling like I just did not empathize enough with you
Yeah, so
at all.
screw you.
Oh, even thinking back to when Lourdes got taken out of the game there back in April with side effects. And I was like, how bad could they be? Right. Man, I have not been that sick as I was yesterday in 5 years since I had food poisoning. Like, it was one of those things where, uh, when you get so sick, you actually have crazy thoughts like, if this is life, just take me, like just end it.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier is because it's not a real flu. Like, I just feel 100% fine now.
Yeah.
Like, my serotonin is through the roof right now, buddy. I've never been. It's like a reverse mushroom trip, like where you're just like groggy and out of it the next day. Like,
Yeah.
I feel amazing.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So we do want to quickly apologize to everybody who is trying to keep up with us on the live stream. The last couple of weeks has been a bit of a mishmash,
Yeah.
but we do promise that we're back to every single Tuesday here, hopefully with more regularity. The last couple of weeks, I know we had some trouble on YouTube and had to bump it to Thursday last week, and then this week we had to bump it just because Adam had some family in town, and we thought Thursday would be perfect. And then I was so sick, and Adam spilled soda water on his computer, and it spent the night in rice. So
Yeah, so the Jays aren't the only ones struggling right now. It's been a
yes,
tough June for everybody.
it's been a tough June for all of us here. Another quick thing we did want to mention here on the walk off, we have a brand new member of the walk off team, Lewis Foster is going to be joining us, not on all the casts and stuff like that. He'll probably do a couple live streams with us when one of us is away, but he's going to be cutting up clips and stuff like that for all of our
Yeah.
interviews, which is fantastic because we have so much great content and so many amazing baseball minds who have joined us. And we are well aware that not everyone has 45 minutes to 60 minutes every single time we put something out to watch it. So he's going to clip it all up and make it much more palatable for short bursts, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Lewis is an Australian kid. He has moved to Toronto. So we've actually got about a 10-minute little interview we're doing with him as an introduction that you can catch that on our YouTube page. He kind of talks about, he's a pitcher himself, 15 years old. He's throwing 86 miles an hour is where he's hitting right now. So who knows? The kid has potential. He talks about transitioning from developing in Australia to just how much more coaching and development possibilities there are in Canada, which was very interesting. And then we talk a little bit about the sticky substances stuff. So that's on our YouTube page right now. You can check that out. And welcome to the walk-off, Lewis. All right, buddy. Our guest for today, and we've been sitting on this one for a little while, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
So Mike Somm of Pro Play AI, which is basically a piece of engineering that has been developed to pinpoint how to properly throw a ball. Basically, just the most efficient way that a pitcher can pitch. And we get into the depths of that with him. Nate Pearson is one of the founding members of this new piece of baseball technology. So we get the ins and outs of that from Mr. Somm. It's a really interesting interview. We talked to him back in January and just are getting a chance to release it now. We do appreciate him sitting down with us. So as always, all of our guests are brought to you by YourRate.ca. Darren Brown, the mortgage broker, sure to help you get into that mortgage you're after, whether it's just renewing your current one or getting you a brand new one. You can do that paperless, online, and get it all started right now at yourrate.ca. All right, my man. Let's do it. The Blue Jays.
Okay, can I just stop you right there?
Please.
Before we get into the Blue Jays, something happened a few weeks ago now to Toronto sports fans. Their hockey team was eliminated from the playoffs in devastating fashion to my Montreal Canadiens. And I just want everybody to Sleep easy knowing that it wasn't in vain because we've made the Cup finals.
Pretty impressive, man.
This is a
I
big
should have
deal.
texted you last night.
You should have.
Just bad friendship.
Just the word. I mean, you were trying to survive, so
I was trying to survive.
you get a
That's
pass.
true.
But no, we're in the finals, and the work isn't done yet, but
Hey, it is pretty darn cool. It is pretty darn cool. It has been since 2007, I think it was, with the Senators that a Canadian team has been in the Cup final.
I think 2011 the Canucks went.
Oh, 2010. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was 2010. Yeah, I remember vehemently cheering against the Canucks. Yeah.
Yeah. The Canucks are not a likable team, that's for sure.
I'm a Flames fan, so I can't help it.
Yeah, I know.
It's very similar to Leafs fans with the Habs, right?
Yeah.
Like it's sacrilegious to even dream of cheering for the Canucks.
Absolutely.
But I'm with you, man. I think it would be so cool. I mean, it's been a long time since Canada has even had a shot at this.
So here's where this kind of ties back into baseball. Montreal did not exactly storm the barn on their way into the playoffs.
No.
But all you need is a ticket to the dance, and then anything can
right,
happen.
buddy.
Right?
That's right, man.
So with the Jays sitting, what are we now? 4 games above 500? 3 games above 500?
I think it's 3 games above 500. 5-game winning streak.
I kind of just, this Montreal Canadiens run to the Cup Finals has just kind of rejuvenated my enthusiasm for this Jays team to be buyers at the deadline. Like, let's just squeak in, and then who knows, right?
Hey, man, this team has been stated to have the easiest schedule remaining in baseball in the American League. Just according to teams above 500 and the teams that they're playing. You know, like they've put in a lot of work already against the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays. It's no small feat to be where they are right now. And you know what? Everyone was worried about the Rays, and they went on that 6-game losing streak. No team is invincible in a 162-game season. And shocking, here we are, end of June, with a team that everyone knew had some deficiencies on it. And we're pretty much, I mean, where I thought we would be, you know, maybe a little. They definitely have blown some games.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone's still so upset about that. But when you play with fire, sometimes you get burned, right? Like this is a team that has always kind of just grabbed guys off the scrap heap for the bullpen, and Pete Walker has turned them into viable pitchers. And May was rough.
You know, when you get down to playoffs, you need like your rotation gets shortened, right? You need 3 or 4 like good arms. We got Ryu if he can stay healthy. Ray's looking like an all-star.
Yeah.
Right? And then you piece together like who knows, some magic between Stripling and Manoah. As weird as that is to say, or Matz comes back and is healthy, right? And you add one piece at the trade deadline, and all of a sudden you go, "Hey, this is a pretty good starting rotation that matches up competently," and then then you do need the offense to stay hot, and historically
they've got the offense though.
Yes,
I mean, look at what they did yesterday without George Springer in the lineup.
And I'm sure.
I mean, I know it's the Orioles. This is the thing. They are on a 5-game winning streak. And I think all Jays fans are kind of in the same boat that, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. It's exciting. We do know who we're playing, right?
Yeah. But look, this is what it comes down to is you got to go 500 against the good teams. Mm-hmm. And then you gotta beat up on these bad teams. And that's what I've been hammering all season long. Like, it's good that we're splitting with the Yankees, but it only matters if we beat up on these bad teams. And I didn't think we would do it. So,
well, let's even talk this bullpen a little, because I know that the panic was at an all-time high. I was on board with the panic train, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Like you watch what happened in May and it's hard not to panic. But you know what? They have under the radar improved substantially. Tim Meza has allowed 1 run in June. 1 run in June. He has allowed 1 run every other month, not named May.
Yeah.
Like, he is being trusted more by Charlie. He is starting to get some high leverage situations. The dude is a stud. Like, the guy really is putting it together.
Yeah.
And if Ryan Baracki comes back and they've got a 1-2 lefty tandem of Meza and Baracki, who both do well against lefties and righties. You know,
Yeah.
like they're not pitchers that are lefty specialists by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taylor Saucedo has come up. He was, of course, called up when Baracki went down. Clean inning last night. Big 6'5" kid that they got from the Bisons. He hasn't pitched much. They're easing him in, but a big arm, throws 96, 97, has a strikeout slider. You know, he's pitched 2 clean innings in his major league debuts. He has 2 strikeouts already. I know a very small sample size, but it's good to see a kid like that step up in these situations. And it's kind of cool, too. I'm bringing up Saucedo partly, too, because we chat with him on Monday morning. So we'll be airing that on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you know, this bullpen is slowly starting to pull it together. Jacob Barnes that they got out of New York from the Mets for some cash. He had a clean outing in his Blue Jay debut last night. Again, they are playing the Orioles, but it's good to see a little bit of competency, I guess is the word. Even Tyler Chatwood, man. Like, the last 2 weeks, he's kind of put it together. Listen, he instills zero confidence. But he's been all right the last 10 days. I know the face you're making. You're like, don't bring Tyler Chatwood into this. But
we're having so much fun, Scott. Why do you got to bring up our exes?
Yeah.
No, and you know, there's more hope like on the horizon. Like if Julian Merriweather can be good once he's back and healthy, like
again, Baracki's almost back, which is a huge piece to this bullpen.
You know, part of it is just weathering the storm and not imploding and getting a ticket to the dance, you know, and then doing the most with it when you get there. And
agreed.
I don't know.
Into that wild card spot.
After that first game against the Orioles there, I was feeling pretty down in the dumps.
Especially after we had that whole chat about, is this rock bottom? Have we hit as low as we can after being swept by the Yankees? And then, of course, the first game after the Orioles beat them.
Yeah.
And it was a game that they should have won, obviously.
But, you know, we haven't exactly... I mean, we've had some big wins in this winning streak. We've also had some ninth inning come from behind character wins. And
that six runs they put up against the Orioles when they were down by 3 to start this winning streak off and end the losing streak they were on was huge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there has been some storylines along this way. Listen, Alek Manoah and Charlie Montoyo got suspended. And what's funny, too, is, and I think all Jays fans have seen it, and if you hadn't, what happened is Manoah got hit for back-to-back solo home runs off the Orioles, and then he hammered the next guy in the back with a fastball. And I'll be honest, man, at first, I didn't think it was intentional.
Okay.
I didn't. I honestly thought, you know, he's a young kid, 23-year-old, frustrated, struggling to find the zone. But the more that this unrolled, the more I'm like, you know what? I think he did. I think he did try and hit him. The way the Orioles responded and reacted, man, like, guys know, right? Like, guys know when someone's throwing at them. And Manoah was frustrated. He's a fiery kid. And there were a few things that happened that made me think, okay, maybe this was intentional. How upset the Orioles manager was. How upset the guy who got hit was. The fact that when they handed out the suspension, Charlie just took it and was like, yeah, no problem. And yeah, Alek Manoah appealed, but basically he appealed because the suspension was just a fake suspension anyways. He's suspended for 5 days. So they're just waiting for an off day so that they can
Not miss a start.
not miss a start.
Yeah.
So then you're not even suspended,
I
right?
know.
So it's like this slap on the wrist, but basically, yeah, I think he tried to hit him, man. Like,
Well, that's the thing. Like, Alec Manoah he's got that old school swagger to him.
yeah,
We saw it in spring training. Like, he pitched big against the Yankees. You know, he was throwing at guys in that game.
yeah,
Like, this is who he is, and I love it.
me too.
I
It is
love
old
it.
school. It is old school,
Yeah.
and you don't see it very often. But 100%, if he didn't mean to hit him, he meant to get pretty darn close. Like,
Yeah.
the way the ball hit him was how you would hit him if you were trying to,
Yeah,
right?
right in the
Dead
meat.
center in the back with a
Yeah.
fastball.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I love it. I love everything about Manoah. He's had some great starts. He's had some bad starts. I love everything about this
Hey,
kid.
that was the start that got the Jays back on track, man.
Yeah.
That was the game that started this winning streak. And maybe just getting the team fired up like that was something.
Hey, going back to hockey, sometimes you just need that guy to just drop the gloves.
Yes.
Just start a fight, do something weird, and just get your team energized. And maybe that was it.
And you could tell, man, like, I don't know. He was fired up that he got thrown out, but I don't think he was mad that he got called for, like, had he just given him a warning? That's what, like, if you read what Manoah was yelling, he's like, no warning, right? Like,
where's my free shot? Yeah. No.
But you know what, man? I love seeing the fire in the kid, and whether it was intentional or not, I think it did the trick. This Jays team is hitting since they've been playing these lesser teams. I mean, what was interesting to see too, man, is that when they weren't hitting, they shut it down. Like those games against Miami, they played against two really, really good starting pitchers.
Yeah.
In Alcantara and Trevor. His name's eluding me now, but that's all right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Both very, very solid starting pitchers. They didn't get a lot of runs, but man, they stayed in the game and they won them both. So they're winning in different ways. They hammered the Orioles last night. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with a grand salami, his first of his career. Blue Jays hitters lead the major leagues in hitting the first pitch. They're hitting the first pitch at a rate of over 400.
Okay, so I want a clarification on this. What does that mean? Does that mean it's like a 400 average when they swing at the first pitch, or does that mean that... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're going up ready to hit. That's something.
Yeah.
They're going up ready to hit. Okay, let's switch gears here and talk this catching position, which we've done several times throughout this season, but this is a much more positive take on the catching situation than we have come to get used to, become accustomed to.
Yes.
Reese McGuire. Buddy.
That kid can hit, eh?
He is looking incredible, man. People are talking about him for all the right reasons this time. It's good. Let's go over some stats.
All right.
I know he has 13 hits in his last 21 at-bats. The guy's hitting over 300. Do you have his stats up here, man?
Yeah, so he is currently hitting 324 with an OPS of 827.
Wow.
That's through 29 games and 80 plate appearances, so roughly half the games the Jays have played. A little less.
What's interesting, too, is Reese McGuire now has a career line of 267, 307 on base percentage, and a slugging of 449 in the bigs. And if you throw out the weird year that was 2020, he's hitting 307, 352 with a 510 slugging.
Wow.
The guy is having great at-bats. His approach at the plate has been phenomenal. And you watch, he's not getting out of what he's trying to do, which is turn the lineup over. He's hitting balls the other way. He's taking what they're giving him. If they're only throwing him outside on the corner, He just taps it into right field or left field, I should
Mhm.
say. Taps it into left field. This is another thing, man, is the fact the Jays need lefty bats so bad. They are probably going to bring in a lefty bat at the trade deadline for the bench. But if Reese McGuire can get going, that is huge and definitely breaks up a righty heavy lineup. Do you want to go over Danny Jansen's numbers?
No,
No?
I will, but I
Yeah.
don't want to. So he's, to his credit, has gone a lot better since the start of the year.
Yes.
He's obviously out with an injury right now. But
how many plate appearances does he have?
122.
Okay, so he's a little bit more. He's played more than Reese
50%
has.
more than Reese has. His batting average is 157 with a slugging percentage of 278.
Ugh.
So he has an OPS of 526. So OPS plus is one of these like new adjusted metrics where they basically set the bar as average for the position is 100, and then you kind of know if they're below 100 how much worse they are, or if they're above 100 how much better they are than average, right?
Right.
So Reese McGuire's OPS plus is 127. Danny Jansen's is 46.
Yeah. So the question starts to get asked here with Alejandro Kirk and Danny Jansen both coming off the IL here in early July, mid-July. What happens here? Now, Riley Adams...
Sorry, can I just press pause for a second?
Please.
Just on the topic of OPS plus, Vlad Guerrero Jr., OPS plus, 201.
Wow.
That's absurd.
Wow.
So
just 200 points above average.
yeah. So,
wow.
anyways, back to the catchers.
So I don't know where the Blue Jays go from here. I'm starting to feel like there's no way that they can send Reese McGuire down at this point, especially with the fact that he's filling so many check marks. Lefty bat, not striking out, turning the lineup over, can lay down a bunt, has thrown guys out who are stealing, something the other guys don't tend to do.
Yeah. I was just going to say, defensively, he's probably our best catcher. I don't know if he calls the best game. I think Danny Jansen might still have that on him.
But the pitchers like Reese McGuire.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kirk is the one who winds up at AAA.
Well, he's there right now for rehab, right?
Yes.
I would
and
just say
partly because they needed room on the 40-man roster, so they had to put him on the 60-day IL, which allows them to rehab him and keep him in the minors until they're ready to actually activate him, right?
kind of just kick their problem down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you have to leave him down there until he's doing something like Gabriel Moreno, where you just can't ignore it. So.
And Riley Adams has struggled. Riley Adams has faced a steady diet of off-speed pitches. They refuse to throw the man a fastball. And this is what happens when guys get called up to the big leagues, is if they prove they can hit a fastball, normally pitchers are like, fine, I'll throw you sliders and changeups all day long, bud. Yeah. And they have, and it's worked. I don't even think Riley Adams is hitting 100 right now.
No, he's hitting 080.
Right. But he only has, what's his plate appearances at, 30?
25 at-bats, 26 plate appearances.
Right, okay. So, very, very small sample size. But I think Riley Adams is out of a job as soon as somebody is ready to come back. But I don't think it's going to be a Jansen-Kirk tandem.
No, I don't think
even
so
if Reese cools down, I don't think Reese is actually a 320 hitter. But even if he continues to chug along at 270 with a 320 on base percentage, and a guy who can be relied upon behind the plate defensively to be able to throw guys out as well as lay down a bunt, which is something Danny Jansen has proven time and time again he can't do. I don't know. I think Reese has proven he deserves a spot on this team. For a guy who is DFA'd.
Yeah. I mean, if you look further back in his history, like he was a highly touted prospect at some
Yes, he
point,
was.
right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm among the fan base for Alejandro Kirk, and understandably so. But Reese
Yeah.
McGuire didn't just show up out of nowhere this year either.
No.
So,
And he's been one of the guys that this front office has been playing asset management with for the last year and a half.
yeah.
So now that he's actually proving them right, I think he's probably safe right now. Which he did just 2 months ago look like the odd man out. I mean,
Yeah.
29 other teams could have grabbed him, dude. He cleared waivers.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm happy for him.
Me too. Me too. I mean, the guy made some real bonehead mistakes, and
We all have, let's be honest. It's as long as he
yeah,
continues to behave himself and puts
exactly.
his past behaviors in the past and whatever, then I guess who knows? Maybe I'll get canceled for even saying kudos to him, but who knows?
Hey, you know what? Like, what a big thing to overcome. Like, what a bonehead move to need to deal with. And he's dealing with all the constant jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure his teammates aren't ribbing him anymore. But for sure, when he first came into spring training after that, how do you not rib a guy for that?
Exactly.
You know? So it is good to see Reese has gotten his life and his career back on the right track, which is good to see. All right. Anthony Kay got a spot start last night and looked really good, man. This is actually really cool. So Anthony Kay became the first pitcher in Blue Jays history to strike out the first 7 batters in a game. Impressive stuff, especially when you start to look over all the guys who have pitched for the Jays, and Roy Halladay and Al Leiter and Dave Stieb, and the list goes on of elite pitchers who have never struck out the first 7 batters.
Roger Clemens.
He did allow some runners, but no runs. He looked a little sketchy at times, but pulled out of it every time. He got his first win of 2021. If Anthony Kay can give us the odd spot start that looks like that, he's earned his spot on the team. That's good stuff.
Good for him.
Nate Pearson, injured again, man. And it's the same injury that he had earlier in the year. His groin has been a problem for him, and you hope that he wasn't rushed back. I know that groins are tricky, and sometimes you can re-injure them. At this point, dude, I think there's no way that he doesn't wind up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays.
Like as a career?
No, not for his career, just for 2021.
Okay.
I just don't think that there's any way that they can stretch him back out to a starter, which is what they were obviously trying to do because they refused to put him in the bullpen when they really needed him. Yeah, I think by September, I'm going to predict we see Nate Pearson in this Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. If he's healthy, if he can make his way back. He's on the 7-day IL right now. I know in the minors, they make it the 7-day just to keep guys, not keep them on the IL for as long. If they, they don't need rehab and stuff, they can rehab right there.
Right.
Real bummer, man.
Big time.
This kid just keeps getting injured. All right. Any other Blue Jay stuff to go over here?
No, just you kind of deflated me here with this Nate Pearson topic.
Nate Pearson news, yeah. Well, before we move on, we are going to live stream tonight.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So everyone can join us. Adam may be on his own for 2/3 of this. My brother's in town, but I'm going to join for the first hour or so. And
sure, I'll have my dog yapping in the background.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. And of course, all the regulars will be joining us. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We live stream every single Tuesday, except for today, which is a Friday. And the live streams are all brought to you by YourRate.ca. Okay, let's move on to the MLB and the sticky stuff.
Where do we start?
What a fun little week it has been, eh?
Yeah, we've been seeing guys drop their drawers on the field.
Okay, first of all, let's start with that. Before we start with that, let's start with Max Scherzer.
Okay.
So Max Scherzer got asked to hand his glove and his hat over, and they inspect
Max
his
Scherzer is a first ballot Hall of Famer, right?
first ballot Hall of Famer. And MLB was doing this because they were already, before it even came into effect, being accused of looking for a scapegoat and going to pick on these lesser guys. So right away, of course, the first thing they do is they inspect Yu Darvish, they inspect Jacob deGrom, they inspect all the top guys. Max Scherzer, no big deal. Pretty calm the first time, gives his hat, gives his glove, hands it over. An inning and a half later, he gets inspected again, and now he's a little bit pissy about it, right? Still, he kept his calm. Then, and this is something I didn't know about these inspection rules, is that the opposing manager can actually ask for an inspection.
Yeah, that's ludicrous, by the way.
Which is absolutely insane. Just absolutely insane that the MLB didn't even think that this might be a problem. And of course, second day, and it's a problem.
And there's no limit to it. They can just ask whenever they feel like
they can just keep asking. Joe Girardi, being a fairly... Now listen, this is a dick move on his part, but he's a savvy old manager.
Very punchable face.
With a very punchable face. If we were to name a manager to Adam's face punch team, he'd probably be the guy. But Joe Girardi was in the middle of a battle with one of the best pitchers in baseball. They were down 3-1, and he was like, I'm just going to try and upset this guy. And it worked, man. So Joel West goes out to inspect old Max Scherzer's again, and now Joe Girardi was like, I think it's in his hair. I need you to inspect his hair. So now Max is mad. Like, he's just plain mad, right? Mm-hmm. And he starts... Now he throws his glove and he throws his hat down, and now he starts taking his belt off, and the ump's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I need to check your hair. So, of course, he's clean. He's fine. And what was weird, too, no repercussions for the manager doing this. You don't lose a challenge. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
Anyways, fast forward a little bit later in the night, Sergio Romo just loses his mind for absolutely no reason. First time being inspected. He literally throws his glove on the ground, throws his hat on the ground, takes his belt off, pulls his pants down. He just pulls his pants down.
You can see the umps having a good laugh about it too, eh? Like, not expecting that.
Oh, I think my favorite check so far is when they checked for the Baltimore Orioles. Mickey Janis, who is a really cool story, by the way, 33-year-old knuckleball rookie. But they're inspecting a knuckleballer for sticky stuff that adds spin. Think about how asinine that is.
Yeah, wow.
It's wild. Yeah. Like a knuckleballer spin. If there's spin on a knuckleball, it's no longer a knuckleball, and guys are hitting that out of the park.
It's
right?
a soft change-up. Yeah.
One of my favorite things too is after the Girardi and the dust up between Max and Girardi and the Nationals and Phillies have already a bit of a rivalry. They're just an hour down the road from each other in same division.
And Bryce Harper
runs into third base there, slides in, his helmet comes off, and his hair is flowing, right?
Another very
and then all of a sudden,
face.
Yeah, you start hearing the guys in the Nationals dugout. They start yelling at the ump. They're like, check his hair. Check his greasy hair for sticky stuff.
I love it.
It was so funny that even the ump and Bryce Harper were laughing. Like, they were like, okay, that's pretty good,
Yeah.
How do you feel about these checks?
Well,
kind of necessary, I guess.
Like, yeah, I guess, but also it kind of like, I mean, if we're worried about pace of play, right?
And I mean, this is why they did it at the end of the inning, is they are trying to keep pace of play going. But then when you have guys flipping out, like, is this is just gonna calm down, eh? In a few months, it's just gonna be commonplace and nobody's.
I don't know. Like, do you need to check a guy after he just gave up 3 home runs in an inning? Like, if he was using sticky stuff, who the fudge cares at that point?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, even the hitters have to be thinking that.
Like, like, honestly, I don't know. The whole thing is asinine. I mean, Trevor Bauer is slated to make his first start tonight, since the checking has been implemented, and I can't wait to see what happens.
I can't wait to.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna be keeping an eye on that. So
What I love too, man, is all the Trevor Bauer haters that are just out there like, oh man, Bauer's done now.
yeah.
Like, he's going to be terrible. And it's like, do you even pay attention? The man has been screaming about this for 5 years now. Like, he has literally been the biggest thorn in the MLB side about this. He single-handedly made them address this issue.
And managed to still get paid before they did anything about it.
Yeah.
So literally laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, like, hate him all you want, but this sticky stuff situation is not screwing Bauer over, and it's not Bauer's fault. Like, if anything, he is the one who made them address this.
You know what? Just to get totally off topic here, do you like superhero movies at all, or comic books, or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't mind them.
Okay. So for me, basically all superheroes come down to the quality of the villain. Right? It's why Batman's so good. I love the Joker and all those guys, right? Two-Face. Everybody's got a story. And so much of it comes down to, like, if the villain has a believable, like, motive for why he's such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Trevor Bauer is an amazing villain for the MLB because this is a guy who didn't want to be a villain.
No.
He wanted to be like, hey, we got a problem. We got to address this. And it was ignored and ignored and ignored. And then finally, he's flipping his two-faced coin and off he goes. And he's like, all right, well, if you can't beat him,
I'm hiring
join him.
Scientists. Then.
Yeah, like he's literally a villain out of a comic book. And I love it. I just love it. So
yeah, me too. He reminds me of a heel in wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, he's the perfect bad guy.
It's perfect.
And you're right. Like, you start going over his origin story and you're like, okay, like, I see why he's a bad dude. Like,
Exactly. So anyways, be fun to see what happens with him tonight. I know he was mentioning there on Sunday about like, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to just ask for hand checks because I don't want to get caught with anything? Like, so
this is what I think is hilarious, is that he totally might do something like that where he's asking for checks on himself.
For sure. I would expect nothing less than him to do that tonight.
As MLB is trying not to slow the game down, he'll be like mid-batter.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. Like, it feels sticky.
Absolutely. I can't wait. But you know what? We've been complaining for the last 4 days about this pace of play and how ridiculous these checks have been. It's going to take someone that doesn't care about looking like an asshole to really point out like the flaws and the loopholes that are being manipulated and whatever, and just like really draw it out and make an absurd scene of it.
And if there's anyone who doesn't care about looking like an a-hole, it is Sir Trevor Bauer.
Well, I mean, just picture like the ESPN analysts Saturday morning going, Trevor Bauer was checked for sticky substances 14 times yesterday. Or, like something, right? Like 72 minutes of stoppages for Trevor Bauer because of what, like just something ridiculous, right? But
no, for sure. I look forward to seeing how it plays out. All right, well, let's wrap it up there. The Blue Jays playing and continuing their 4-game series against the Orioles tonight. Hopefully they can continue this 5-game winning streak. They're on a hot streak. Looks good. All right, thanks so much for listening, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. Of course, we're giving away a Blue Jays jersey with the player of your choice on the back. All you need to do is go to our Instagram page, like the post, tag a fellow Blue Jays friend or fan in the comments, and subscribe on YouTube, and a Blue Jays jersey could be yours. All right, everybody, thanks so much for listening. Take care. We'll see you on Tuesday.